So I don't know who is watching my videos, but I would like, as I'm posting lots of stuff on Facebook, my hair is looking a mess still. I'm posting a lot of stuff on Facebook, and the messages are getting longer and longer because I'm now speaking. I'm now not typing things. I'm speaking into the microphone because it's a lot easier. It makes a huge amount of mistakes though when you type in when you're speaking into something. You know, often you say something and you look at it and you think, what the hell was I writing there? Like you can't even recognize what it is that you were writing. When you make mistakes when you're typing, I can usually work out what it is that I'm meant to be saying. But when you're speaking into a microphone, sometimes it changes it so much so that you don't actually know what you're saying, and then when you go back, you kind of think, oh, what should I say? Because I don't understand. It's obviously typed in the wrong thing. But yeah, other than that, I think I'm getting it more or less right. But I would love there to be someone that could just take my clips, put it to like some sort of AI image of me where I'm saying all this stuff, and then I don't know if who's watching or monitoring the Facebook page that I'm doing, but if you could take all the posts, because a lot of them get deleted after a month or two. I don't know. Sometimes people post things and then later, a month later, think, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I need to take it down." But if you take all the things, save it in your own. I'm creating a book basically. My Facebook is like a big long book of all the sort of links, but it has to be an online book because you have to actually watch. You have to read what I say. You have to watch what the post is about, and then you have to sort of link what I'm saying. Because sometimes the post is the exact opposite of what I'm actually saying, so you need to kind of link them together. And then when I sort of have a conversation, because the next thing that seems to pop up seems to often be related and stuff. So I'd just like to add that. And I would also like to add that I don't know about my gym. I just want to have a quick. I was thinking yesterday that I should be leaving. I don't feel welcome at the gym. I've never felt welcome. That they make you feel welcome when you walk through the door because there's always people that say, "Hi, how are you?" and that's good. But when you actually get into the gym, there's a blonde woman who I absolutely hate. She looks like some sort of robot that walks around, and she just tells me she's always looking through the window to make sure no one has their phone. I found that really annoying because I like posting. I know I like getting off the phone, and sometimes it's nice to not get off the phone. So in the last few months, I have not even attempted to go on my phone. But yeah, even just me taking pictures of the thing, you can see her beady eyes, nosy through. It's almost like she has an agenda against me. That's how I feel. I do not like that woman at all. She's like some sort of robot, and she's just constantly looking to make sure no one has phones. And I don't understand why you can't even have a phone in case it breaks. And I know there are one person broke some glass and it fell into the pool, and the pool was closed for about 2 weeks because of it. But I don't really use the pool, so I don't actually. The pool used to be very very cold, and it was cold for like 2 years, hence why I never used it. Maybe if I did use it, I'd stay about 5 minutes. And I noticed just over the last 2 months, the 2 months I wasn't actually there because I had June and July off, but I noticed throughout all of August it was actually warmer, and people were saying that they warmed it up, and I was like, oh, that's good. But it's gone back cold again. It was cold last day, so I can't use the pool at the temperature is. So I can't use the pool because the temperature is too cold. The jacuzzi is freezing most of it. It's not as warm as it should be, and it always stings my eyes. Every time it's on, I have to like look to the side, and I put a mat somewhere so that the flames don't come up and start stinging my eyes. But they sting my eyes a lot, which is why if you see me rubbing my eyes, it's because of all the flames of the toxic acid that they put in this. Most of it doesn't. I've been to loads of jacuzzis and it's not as bad as this one. This one always has it at a very high concentration, and it's not very warm. And for 3 years, I could look around the jacuzzi and just see all the rotten tiles and all the things peeling off. When I first joined 3 years ago, it was fairly nice, but ever since I've joined, they've not done anything. Things break, they change it, but it changes to something not as nice. They got rid of the nice oaked wood. It was getting run. People couldn't sit on it because it was getting you would get splinters. So things fell apart, and then they replaced it, but they replaced it with bright pine wood looking. I don't know, bright. It looks like Butlins. It looks like a very cheap version of Butlins, and just everything in it is the taps are always leaking. Sometimes the handles don't work, and I've often seen just the tap running full blast, and it can be like that for weeks. There's so many things wrong with this gym. It's almost like whoever runs it or whoever's owning it is doing it as a deliberate attack on me, because they think we don't care about who's using it, we don't care about making it. And then the annoying thing is I can't complain because there is literally nowhere else I can go. There's a couple of other gyms. I've noticed the one in the centre is closed down, even though it's been open for like 2 years, 3 years, probably because of violence that happens. I feel like there's some very violent people in the area, but there was one really nice gym that was about £60. This one is actually £60. If you had a full membership, it's £60. I can't even afford £60. If you were to put it up to £60, I would 100% leave. But I've got this sort of temporary Monday to Friday up till 4 p.m. I can afford £45. That's I can go a bit higher, but only if it was nicer. But yeah, it used to be like 38, and then it went up to 39. Now it's like 50, 45. So it's £45. It's at the top of my budget. It's way too far away. I used to be the part of the Ballantyne that was closer. It was only 10 minutes away, half the price, so much nicer. I liked that one because it was 10 minutes away, much easier, much more convenient. They had an actual jacuzzi walk-in, like a warm pool. They didn't have a proper jacuzzi, so it was always a little bit colder. But because they had a sauna, steam room, deck chair, that's all I kind of needed to stay warm. But I do need some heated water because I don't like cold water. And this has a massive pool, but it's way too cold. I can't use it. And so I do use the jacuzzi, but I'm not happy with the temperature. And now that they've complained about this, I don't even want to tell them and warn them that civil war is around the corner, because if they don't know about me, and if they are just going to, if they're telling me not to attack a woman who for saying that, I think Islam relates to war. Of course it does. Anyone who's got a brain knows that Islam links to war. And if she's going to, I don't know, if I'm going to end up having arguments over her believing that that's not the truth, and I'm just very uneducated. I didn't say anything. I said, I don't believe that. And there's one other thing that she said, that Islam does all this. And I said, I've seen a video that says, no, it didn't. And it actually gave names of different people. This wasn't me saying, I know who did it. I'm just saying, I watched a video. I didn't even say, I said, I didn't say which side I believed. I said, I've seen a video that took exactly the same video, only put different names to it. And none of these people were Islamic. And that's what made her call me uneducated. Because I didn't agree with her, basically. That was it. And I said that to the gym, and they even then told me that I shouldn't raise my voice and I shouldn't swear. And I'm just like, the amount of anger that I feel towards Islam, I have to raise my voice. I have to swear. And I'm not convinced that the people who work in the gym are on my side. There's a lot of Islamic people that work there. In the spa area, I'm often seeing people who cover their hair. I don't really know the difference between Islamic or not, but I see Islamic, I guess, as people who cover their hair, women who feel like they need to cover their hair for religious reasons. If you're covering your hair because you think God likes it, well, I think you're inverted, because I actually hate it. So you're doing something, saying that you're doing it because of me, when really you're doing it to upset me. That's how I see it, and you can see it in any way you want. But I'm God, so I know who God is. I know what God likes. And if you're going to start saying that the Quran is the word of God, well, I can say I am God, and that is not my book. I don't even know what's in it. I've read half of it, but I wasn't able to understand or take anything in because I'm dyslexic, and I wasn't able to understand anything. I just recognized that it had nothing to do with me. So if you're going around saying that the Quran is the word of God, then you are basically saying that you are worshipping a God that has absolutely nothing to do with me, because that is what the Quran represents to me. But yeah, I'm angry because I would love there to be a nice spa. I might be able to get a free bus pass. I applied for it, and I'll know in a few weeks. I'm really hoping I'll be going to America before then. But yeah, it'd be a bit annoying because I wanted a free bus pass for such a long time, because of the problem is the buses aren't even that good. So even if I did have a free bus pass, it wouldn't be that. If you're going to work, paying £5 for a bus, to go there and to work is a good thing, because you need to earn money. But if you don't work, if you don't have that much money, if the only money you earn is through massage and you really want to stop, then suddenly paying £5 just to go to a park, you don't want to do that. You want to cycle, and if you don't have the energy to cycle both there, walk around the park and walk back, because I don't have the energy to do that. I want to go to the Tamworth Spa, but now the gym, not, it doesn't even include it. The gym used to include the Tamworth Spa, and I've heard someone in the jacuzzi yesterday saying that it doesn't even include the Tamworth Spa anymore. It's just like everything the gym is doing is doing stuff that makes me want to quit it and not go. And so I'm thinking maybe I should just quit, but I can't, because where else would I go? There is no fucking place in this. Birmingham is a shithole that's just getting worse. And I remember when I first came here, they kept out saying, oh, this night market was going to be done and all these big plans for everything. And I was always just a bit like, yeah, this doesn't seem likely, because the majority of Muslim people don't actually shop in clothes, because just shop in shops for clothes because they just wear black garments. And okay, I didn't really see that many of them walking around the towns, and I am seeing a lot of them walk around the towns, but I don't really know what they're doing, because what are they buying? That you don't sell black garments on the high street. So I'm noticing though that a lot of shops in Birmingham are closing down. There's a whole square that is allegedly coming down because of damage to the building work or something. So the whole place needs to be gone. But why would you build a shopping centre there when clearly it needs to be with all the other shops? The pavements are all full of chewing gum and just the whole place is falling apart, and you can't even get from one side of Birmingham to the other, because you've got a bus that all goes to this point, and then there's like a tram where there's no buses coming past, and then you've got a square here, so you have to walk to the other side of the square to get a bus. But then you have another square over this area where the museum that was always closed, now it's open, so there's something to do. But yeah, because of the square that you can't walk, cars can't go past, cars or buses can't go, and there's another square here, getting to the other side of the gym kind of means walking a 15-minute walk to kind of get to where you can actually get a bus. So getting to the gym without a bike is actually really hard, and if you don't have the energy to drive a bike, then it's even harder. And I don't know, but it just feels like everyone in Birmingham is just trying to piss me off, and my gym is one of these. But I don't know if I am going to start a war that is going to be against Islam and anyone that refuses to convert out of the religion. And if I am responsible for for killing every single Muslim in the world that refuses to convert, which is what I'd be very proud to do. I don't know how the people in my gym would take it, because a lot of them are getting more and more Islamic. That's why I feel like they didn't get rid of the glass panels because there was anything wrong with the glass panels. I know in the men's one, two of them broke apparently, so maybe there was some big heavy guys that leaned on it and cracked it or something. But women are not likely to do that because we're not as big as that. But yeah, they've taken it down, and I didn't really see why they took it down, but I think they said it was for privacy reasons. So my guess is that they've had lots of Islamic people saying that we want to join the gym, but we can't because the cubicles are not private, and the shower cubicles are not private enough. And in the last 2 months, ever since they've put these more private Butlins they look like Butlins. They look like very cheap. It'd be fine for Butlins. If I'm paying £5 a week to come to this gym, it's probably not a huge amount, but 45, which is a bit more, okay. I probably shouldn't complain about the price, but it's just annoying because I want better for what I'm getting, and they're basically accommodating it more for Muslims. I've noticed that. So how would the Muslims feel like this was actually the place where the person who started a war against them used to go for 3 years? Getting pissed off by them. But yeah, there never used to be that many Muslims in the gym, but I've noticed ever since they've changed there's a lot. I can't remember what that woman looked like. The woman that I spoke to in the sauna, I cannot remember what she looked like. I can't even remember if she had a hairnet on. It was very steamy in the room. She might have had a shower cap on. I can't remember or not, but it's almost like I can't remember anything about her, and therefore every time I see a sort of Asian looking woman, whether it's her hair covered or not, I'm just thinking, is that the same person? And I genuinely don't know, because I couldn't actually see what she looked like, and the conversation we had was very, very short. So but yeah, it's just making me feel like I really don't belong in this gym. But I don't know where else I would go, because all the other spas are about an hour journey away, and they have to get on 2 buses to get there. I haven't got the bus pass yet, so I know that I would not be able to get there by bike, especially not at night time. But yeah, I don't know. I want signs that something's going to happen soon, that I'm going to actually have someone come to my house, take me to some nice house and actually have like a video recording where they go through step by step what happened in 2013, what happened in 2015, who the fuck is Martin, why the fuck was he ignoring me, does he generally not know about me? You know, I need to go through all these questions, and then I need to start asking about all the singers and the music industry that turned against me, refused to help me, refused to tell me what's going on, refused to tell me how long they were going to ignore me for, whilst acting like I was on their side. And you know, I don't want to do anything when it comes to them. I really, my hair is really annoying me how bad my hair looks. It's annoying me how bad my hair looks. But yeah, I'm angry about so many different things, and yeah, um, I feel like there's a big war coming, and I don't really know who's affected by it, but I know that you should set up a taxi company firm that does not hire Islamic people or people who don't respect English people, because there are going to be a lot of vulnerable people who rely on taxis to get to hospitals for checkups and stuff, and it's going to be very unsafe for them, because taxi firms know where people live, and if there are some vulnerable people, they should not be getting on taxis that are run or operated by people who are Islamists and wanting to kill people to steal their homes, because you know, they'll see where these people are, they'll scam these people because they see them as vulnerable. So whatever's about to happen, I think you need to recognize who are really the most vulnerable people, and these are elderly people who are blind, who have problems, health problems, and memory problems as well. You know, if someone was to attack a person with a memory problem, they wouldn't even remember their attacker. They wouldn't even be able to say how the attack happened. They might not even know if it was an attack or if it was just they fell over. You know, that's how bad it is. There might be plenty of old ladies who have had their purse jacked or had money taken out. You know, my granny almost left a £5 note on the taxi as she walked out, because when she was paying, something fell out of her purse and she didn't see it. So it's really, a £5 note is not the end of the day, the worst thing. But if she's going places and she's got money in a bank, in a pocket, and she's lying to people about how she's able to see when she's not able to see, you know, there are going to be some people that are very vulnerable, and they should not be taking taxis run by Islamists. So I'll just say that.